Our beloved 8% Hard AF Seltzer is now live in over 2,500 locations across the United States. We're now available in Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, North Carolina, Ohio, Idaho, Illinois, Michigan, Montana, Oregon, and Texas. Go to hardafseltzer.com today, click on the store locator, enter your city or zip, and find the nearest location closest to you. Welcome to Drinking Bros, presented by GhostBed.com. Yeah, welcome to the Monday morning recap, everybody. Brought to you by MyBookie.com. Promo code Drinkin' Bros doubles that first deposit all the way up to $1,000. I was not, I don't think, in their good graces. I did not have a chance to chat with the president of MyBookie, but I know when they don't like repost my shit that they're like, dude, you're winning a lot here. Eventually, it got to the point over this weekend they started reposting again, and I got a DM, and I don't know who it was, but he just says, "Whatever you're doing right now, this heater is like one of the most impressive things ever." So like, this is now starting to be hilarious a little bit. And I'm like, I agree.
Now, are you going to give them a rake back?
No, I have a feeling I'm going to get raked back in one of these things because you guys know me. We've been doing this in the show for, I think, 7 or 8 years. College football national championship, I usually go 5K. Mm-hmm. And Super Bowl, I usually go 5K as well.
Yeah.
They have the opportunity to mop the floors with me.
Right.
I do want to give the audience full disclosure. So D'Anthony's sick. We're all sick here at the studio. We've been traveling, flying, snow, in and out of airports, delays, cancellations, all that other shit. I feel a little better than he does, so he went home after fake news today. That's why Bob is here. He's fine. He'll be back tomorrow on Drinkin' Bros and all that other stuff, but we got to go to the White House this weekend and rest up. But couple that with the fact that I've been partying for Ohio State and all that other shit.
Right. 8 straight days of football.
Somebody will rake me back here. Like, one of these games will rake me back. I'm just not sure what it is. And
I know what it is.
You do?
I know what game will rake you back.
Well, you think Ohio State Notre Dame?
Yeah.
You think that's gonna bring me back?
Me and Delco are all in on Notre Dame.
Is that real?
Yeah.
You said that during fake news earlier.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Are you guys really going with Notre Dame to win outright?
It's just too stupid. It just feels like their year. It feels like a magical.
I had a seance with my dead grandmother, big Notre Dame fan.
Okay. What did she say?
She came down, and she told me, 2025, the year of the Irish.
There's a lot of people out there who are betting on it. And here's why I say this. As soon as the game's ended, it is Ohio State versus Notre Dame, and we'll get to the recap of those two games in a second here. The line opened up at 9.5.
It's down to 8.
It is. It is now all the way down to 8. Thank God I did not bet this now. And I think I will wait until right up to kickoff because there's so many Notre Dame homers all over the fucking nation that I think this could go down to 7.5, which would allow me to drop it to 7 and maybe push if that's the case or whatever. But here's what I found out. And this is honesty and full disclosure on this show. Now, after that Nebraska game against Ohio State when they lost all their backup linemen, I came on this very show and I told you I was releasing my $5,000 bets on Ohio State to win the national championship that we did during our pre-prediction show in August. However, there was some money missing from my account that I could not figure out on mybookie.com. And I'm like, man, I don't understand. There's $2,000 here that I thought that I had and I don't have it. Where is it?
Right.
There is a slot underneath there to look at open bets that are still open that haven't cashed for the future.
Yeah, ongoing.
One was a drunken Ohio State $2,000 bet back in May. We did a show all the way back in May when right after the spring games.
Yeah.
Where MyBookie, it was the first day that they let you bet on the national championship. However, the max bet was $2,000, and it said that I did this at 1:18 in the morning. That bet I forgot to cancel, and it currently pays off at $9,000. Now, this is a genuine question here for Delco, because you tell the audience this all the time about hedges. Mm-hmm. What does a guy like you do to hedge something like this at $9,000?
Yeah. So you can get Notre Dame at 3-1 right now.
Okay.
So win half. Like, put not half the money risked, but like whatever the math is to get to half of the money that you could win with Notre Dame. Yeah, just do the math.
Okay. Now I feel like a pussy doing that, so I don't do that.
I mean, if
I genuinely do not believe in Notre Dame at all, like at all in this game.
So how much does the ticket pay out?
$9,000.
$9,000. Yeah.
So if you bet $3,000 on Notre Dame money line,
the worst case scenario, you're going to win $6,000.
you're going to make $6,000. You can actually make yourself a guaranteed $6,000 right now if you bet $3,000 on the Notre Dame money line.
Yeah. So why would you not take that? It's a guaranteed $6,000.
Hang on, I'll tell you why. Okay. Do you have access to if I text you something, can you put it up on the computer? Yeah. Okay. Sorry about this. I know we're shorthanded today. I apologize.
Yeah, because for those who don't know, Joel usually works the switch for Monday morning recap, and he's
in the fires in California with Gary.
Yeah, but I mean, Rob's useless. I can do this no matter what.
So I just texted it to you, and then you can place this on screen. That way everybody can see it. Oh, my God. This was May 10th I made this bet. Holy shit, dude. I don't even... That's how blackout drunk I was at that
just
night.
Getting hyped off spring game highlights.
Yes, that's all it was. That's literally all it was. And I was just like, all right, cool, man.
Was Howard there yet?
He was. Okay. And he went through spring game and all that other shit. So, yeah, this bet was made on May 10th. And I could not figure out what that missing $2,000 is. Okay. So pop it up on screen. This is why you know that it's real, because my ticket number's on there and all that other shit. Yeah. The bet was placed May 10th, 2024. Ohio State 450 money line to win the national championship pays off at $9,000. So you're saying I should bet half of it on Notre Dame?
Just $3,000.
Bet $3,000 on Notre Dame, and you'll either come away with $6,000 or $7,000.
Yeah. How is that? That just seems like the simplest
That's just
math.
smart gambling. That's not even a hedge where it's like, oh, I'll at least break even. It's like, oh, I'm up thousands of dollars.
What's the difference if you make $9,000 or $7,000?
Here's the thing. It's because on this show, and I've said it ad nauseum over the years, the contract we signed with MyBookie is I can either pick the games if I want to. If I don't believe them, I don't have to, because I didn't want to do that to anybody. I genuinely don't believe in Notre Dame, and I feel like I'd just be throwing $3,000 out the window.
Okay.
So
we'll see. And then what if Notre Dame wins? You walk away with nothing.
I do, but I've got pride, Delco. You talk about that on the show all the time. You know, it's pride right now.
I will say this. If I was just watching at home, I mean, I would still do this. But if I was watching at home, okay, maybe. But you're making the trip. You could just pay. You pay for your trip.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
It's free trip.
If it was a bigger amount of money, let's say it was 100 G's, right?
Then I would do it in a second. But it's $9,000, and it's like, I know that's a lot of money and all that shit. But
it's not life-changing money.
It's not that. I'm just going to throw it in a hard AF Seltzer. Like, I'll just throw it into the company.
Right.
Yeah. My wife is not here. She has no idea any of this is going on right now. Also, is still not amped about the tattoo bet, but whatever.
Sometimes though, like yesterday, a Sunday hedge that can work for your favor. You know, I took Nick Taylor at 20-1, threw $50 on him,
and then did he end up winning?
He won, and I got myself out of a hole.
Okay, all right. I understand it. This game, man, the way the matchup is, and we'll get to it in a moment. I mean, I have zero belief in Notre Dame whatsoever, and we'll get there. So let's start with it. Both games were great, by the way. So that was fun.
Yeah.
At least we finally had two. Well, I'd say out of all the games, we've had 10 playoff games now. 3 were good.
Notre Dame, Penn State was a classic.
Sure was. And here's why it was a classic to me, and also why I don't believe in them. You had two teams that were almost identically matched. You had two shitty quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And you had two great defenses. And then it was kind of a struggle bus to score there. There was, and never ever do this if you're listening at home, these fucking listeners. So I bet the over in this game.
Okay.
These
in
listeners, in Notre Dame, Penn State.
The teaser over.
Both.
Oh, you bet the regular over?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was 42, and it just hit because they scored 31 points in the fourth quarter.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I think I texted you guys that bet slip, but it was also in Drinkin Sports on Facebook. There was 2 listeners in there on that thread of the bets that I post before every single game that were like, man, you're 100% wrong. I bet you're regretting this. Enjoy losing all that. And I'm like, it's a 4-quarter game. If you want to talk shit, just wait till after the game's over so you don't look like an asshole during this. The guy's name was Gary something.
Drinkin Bro Sports is full of those people.
I know. And so I ended up winning not only that bet, but then it was paired with all the Ohio State bets. So I won all the money this weekend. And I double-birded that guy and told him to go fuck off. But through this game, through the first half, it was 3-3. And then Penn State got a late touchdown, and it was 10-3.
Yep.
Should have been 14-0.
Do you guys think either one of these teams could have beaten Ohio State?
Aller should have fucking hit him at the 5-yard line right in the hands. He would have walked in for a touchdown. Misses that throw that to settle for a field goal. Dude, Penn State dominated the first half, and they were only up a touchdown.
I know.
I had such a bad feeling in my gut because I bet so much money on Penn State.
Well, here's the thing, and I did too, but then with the teasers and the parlays and all the other shit for no, just the teasers, I should say, for my bookie, I crossed the 0, and it was Penn State +5 in all of those, and then dropped that over down, and so we hit everything. I had one $500 bet on Penn State -1, I think, but everything else hit. I was able to win, I think, $1,200 total off of this game. What happened in the second half there? I mean, Aller was terrible, by the way.
Yeah, he wasn't great. Dude, what happened is fucking Notre Dame just has that dog in them. They went into the half. They were feeling a little bad for themselves. Marcus Freeman took his sexy ass in the middle of the locker room and just gave some fucking crazy speech, I'm sure.
Gave a halftime speech. No, they did mention that, like word for word what he said.
Oh, they did? Forgive me, I didn't hear it. What was he alluding to there? Bob can look it up right here. He's here. You can keep the camera on me if you want. Now, here's what I'll say about Marcus Freeman as you're looking that up. Marcus Freeman has made people actually like Notre Dame. To me, this was an unlikable team, college franchise forever because the fans are delusional. They haven't won since 1988. Lou Holt, everybody hated him. They hated Brian Kelly. They hated all the other coaches. The class and grace of the Ohio State University graduates, Marcus Freeman, the way he handles himself, the way he does interviews before and afterward, has made everybody like this team again, and the grit in which this team plays with, because they don't have a lot of talent, in my opinion, on the offensive side of the ball. Defense, yes, but offensively, no. And you have a quarterback that literally just can't fucking throw the goddamn football.
Yeah, but he's like literally just a knockoff Tebow.
He is.
He even gives like the Jesus speech at the end.
Sure does. And he runs the ball on his own, and then they kind of figure it out from there. But watching this game, I'm with you. Penn State dominated the first half. Aller was dog shit. They didn't, they hit one wide receiver.
They didn't hit, no wide receiver.
No wide receiver to catch.
Now, here's the thing, though. Like, that is definitely horrible for Penn State, but how much of that is also, like, how much credit do you give to Notre Dame on that, too?
I do. But because they play man coverage against a team like Penn State's with middling wide receivers, you can get away with man all day. You will not be able to do that against Ohio State. So how that's going to translate and carry over, I don't know. But I think that's why this game was so good, is because we've played Penn State. So I've seen their offense. I've seen this exact everything. Franklin, all this other shit across the board. So I knew what we were getting into, and I thought that's what made this particular matchup so great. I said last week this was going to be a one-score game either way. It was. Who did the call come from to throw there with 40 seconds left? Would you have done that if you were Franklin?
You go for the field goal.
I agree.
No, it's good to be aggressive, and that wasn't even Franklin's fault. That was all on Allen.
You do not throw across your body now.
Yep.
Across the field, no. As off your back foot, you don't do that.
So, in my opinion, after watching this game, and I know they brought up the James Franklin record against the top 5 teams and all this shit and the choking. It wasn't on James Franklin, man. I thought he did the right thing and went for the field goal at the end. And, all are throwing that pick. It was just a terrible pass.
Yeah.
But I think you do have to go for the win.
Yeah. You play for the win. Absolutely.
Is anyone arguing not to go for the win there?
No.
Settle for overtime?
There was some people out there, some talking heads from some other places that were, just because of that.
Especially after the 12-yard gain on first down with the run.
Yeah. And they were like,
you get 30 more yards as a field goal. It's
at least a shot.
Yeah. So I don't blame Franklin for that.
Some people were
But most people, a lot of people are saying go to overtime because your quarterback isn't playing well. That shortens the field, so they were running the ball pretty well.
Yeah.
Singleton was doing great. I think he had 3 touchdowns in this game. He did. He had 3 touchdowns in this game, shorten the field to 20 yards, eliminate all his mistakes, and just run the ball and try to win in overtime.
Yeah.
I don't think you do that. I think you got to go for the win like that.
100%. You got to kill while you can. Get a kill.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. I think that's crazy.
Plus, I like Leonard better in 20 yards and in, right? Like he can just smash, QB smash every time.
He can, but then so can Penn State. I think Penn State still has a little better defense than Notre Dame does.
They have a little bit of better total defense, but actually Notre Dame ranks as a better pass. Notre Dame's the number 2 pass defense in the country.
Really?
Yeah.
Man. Abdul Carter, by the way. Superstar, played with one arm.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
My God, dude. Even with one arm, he was able to decimate people.
If he had 2 arms, though, he would have recovered that fumble.
He sure would have. And to me, that guy's the first pick in the draft. Like, I don't care if I'm let's just use my team because they fucking suck, the Atlanta Falcons, and I had the first pick in the draft. That guy is a fucking superstar and an animal. That's who I want with the first pick in this draft.
He's a day one difference maker.
No. I think because those edge guys are really, really hard to find, there's a lot of corners in America. Edge rushers are really hard. I would lean toward Abdul Carter.
I don't think Travis Hunter's going to play corner in the NFL.
Maybe, but then I don't pick a wide receiver number 1.
Yeah,
it's only been done once recently, or not recently. I remember Julio Jones went one, and yeah, that panned out pretty well for the Falcons.
Yeah, he's a Hall of Famer.
Julio went one?
Maybe not. Actually, not. Maybe they traded him to 3.
I think he was like a top 7.
You're
pick.
right, dude. I apologize. I think you're right. I don't remember a wide receiver going one recently.
2 wide receivers have been taken first overall in the NFL draft.
Ever?
Yeah.
Okay, who are they?
Irving Fryer, who I think is a Hall of Famer, or he's at least a notable receiver, certainly. And the other one, I think, is less. It's still a good career, but I don't know if he's
What are you talking about?
Pick.
Keyshawn's the man.
Yeah, I don't know.
Keyshawn Johnson?
Yeah, he was the other overall number 1.
Won a Super Bowl. He
Not
was
for the team that drafted him.
No, I know. But you do it there. And then, what was the speech at halftime?
I read it. It wasn't anything interesting in terms of like things said. It was just like, go out and fight, get fucking, just Marcus Freeman.
Marcus Freeman?
Yeah.
Okay.
But dude, I'm telling you, this Notre Dame team. Here's one thing I think is going to be. I think their defense can stand up to Ohio State. I mean, Ohio State played. I think Texas is the 3rd-ranked defense in the country, and the 7th-ranked pass defense. Notre Dame is the 9th-ranked defense, but 2nd-ranked pass defense. So maybe that doesn't bode well if their rushing defense isn't that good. But Texas held Ohio State to 21 points, 3 scores.
Yep.
The defense did. Obviously, they got the defensive touchdown. But I don't think Notre Dame's defense is going to be... The only way Notre Dame's defense has a problem is if they're on the field the whole game.
Also, can we talk about the decision-making from the 1-yard line by Texas?
Yeah, we'll get to that game in a second.
And dude, credit to Notre Dame, because this was a rock fight, and Notre Dame came out in the second half and like literally just played harder. Like I don't know what else it could possibly be.
That was it. I agree with you.
Yeah.
They've just played harder, and then it came down to that one bad interception there.
Yeah,
and a great kick by that kid, whoever that is. But I look at this because again we played Penn State this year. Penn State only scored 13 against us.
Yeah,
at home. It was at Penn State.
Yeah.
I just don't know how there's no way these points are coming from this team.
I don't know how you have this much confidence in Ryan Day seeing that Texas game.
I'll tell you why. So now we'll move to that game.
He got bailed out so hard.
Hang on. So I feel the same. I thought both coaches in this game were terrible.
Check it out. There's only one good coach, and maybe not even one, because we were shitting on Marcus Freeman a lot last year.
Yeah.
Remember, he lost? That Ohio State loss is on his coaching staff.
On him.
Because 10 guys on the field back-to-back
for the last play of the game, yeah.
Fucking horrible.
Yeah.
But Steve Sarkisian, I've been saying this forever. I think most Texas fans were already aware of this, but like...
They're not. They love him.
He's a bad coach.
I know.
He's a bad coach.
I know.
Your money is covering up blind spots that you can't pay for play calling on the 1-yard line, right? You can have all the NIL money in the world to buy all the players, but your money doesn't mean fucking shit on the 1-yard line against another blue blood.
And calling a pitch, by the way, on the 1, when you have those type of running backs there and a big quarterback, just sneak it in or just hand it off and just ram it up the fucking middle.
You get 4 tries.
4 tries. And then Ohio State earlier in the game at the 50 did the exact same thing. They did a pitch to Judkins on 4th and 1 that they shut down. Texas got the ball and then fucking scored. That pitch play should be eliminated from every college football coach's mind forever. Both coaches did it. Both of them were unsuccessful. And this one actually cost Texas the game because this was to tie it. That scoop and score came at the end and bailed it, everything out.
The only time you should ever go on a stretch play or outside the tackles is for a rollout play for your quarterback to have a run pass option. There's no reason you should run and start 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah. Now let's start with Ryan Day and the calling and all that other shit. So as I was watching this game, I hated that they were running the ball so much and everything else. It's just throw to Jeremiah Smith every single fucking down. I didn't like the play calling, everything else. However, I went back and rewatched this game before today's show to kind of get ready for it. And here's what I noticed. It was in the execution of Ohio State, and in particular, Will Howard. There were plays where he was open. Will Howard, going through his reads, missed a lot of them. Will Howard probably has worst game of the playoffs in this.
Yeah.
I think he can correct that going into next game, and I think that will be fine. And then when I actually looked at the number of run plays versus pass plays, they only ran 24 times. 7 of those were Howard, and God knows how many he took off just because there was a blitz or something. So they didn't actually run as much as I thought. However, Howard missed a lot of progression reads. And then the things that I noticed on the rewatch of it was at times they were tripling Jeremiah Smith. And he actually reposted this on his Twitter of this where they were like, oh, my God, this is insane. There's triple coverage on him. He reposted it and said, laugh out loud and put smiley faces on there because that's what they were doing. And to give the defensive coordinator of Texas some credit, the schemes that they were calling and confusing Will Howard and the offense, the shifts that were going on in and out of the safeties and cornerbacks and all the other shit, they threw every trick in the book at this fucking offense, and it worked. And
by the way,
great. Texas defense was great.
I forgot about this, too. Kind of one of a fluky offensive touchdown as well for Ohio State.
Which one was it?
At the end of the half.
Yes. That changed the game. Changed the game.
Basically, just 2 sustained drives with scores.
Yes.
Right? It was so I'm not necessarily confident. I think Ohio State has a better offense than Notre Dame. No question. I'm not necessarily confident that Ohio State has a great offense or an offense that can't be stopped by a good defense. And Notre Dame has a defense that's every bit as good as Texas's by all measures. Now, Knapp isn't going to play, but everyone else seems to be available, offense and defense.
Do you like Notre Dame's defense better than fucking Michigan?
Or Penn State?
What?
I like Notre Dame's defense better than Michigan's defense.
You do?
Yeah.
I do not. I would take Michigan's defense. I would also take Penn State's defense with a healthy Abdul Carter, obviously. But even with one arm, he was great.
I don't think his arm. I don't know how much his arm even affected him
because of
how good he was.
Well, I know, but he couldn't even move. I mean, it was it was painful to watch. You're like, Jesus Christ, man! He really wanted to win.
It's not that he. It's just that he played so well. You almost have to question, was the arm? I mean, it was hurt, but it's did it?
It couldn't even move it because he would have picked up that ball to Delco's points. But so let's talk about it because that also haunted Texas fans' dream. Not only
that's going to be one of the most infamous things in college football history.
And here's the thing on a defensive front, and I just sucked off the defensive coordinator for Texas. But at the end of the half, 20 seconds left, you have one of 2 options. You can either run the ball up the middle and then just go into the locker room tied, which is what would have happened.
Yeah.
Or you can throw a screen, see what happens, and then, great, man, if it works out, maybe we can get in a field goal range and get a field goal.
Yep.
Why they were unprepared for that screen that was called. That was a called screen. That wasn't improvised or anything else. It was a called screen for that play. Why they weren't prepared for that? Because he had that convoy, and if you notice, while he was running down the sidelines, Travion Henderson was the guy who caught the ball. He looked back in shock of why is there nobody here?
Nobody. Well, apparently, from what I saw, they sent everybody at Howard.
They did. For what reason?
I don't know.
20 seconds left at the ball in the 20 or 25 or whatever it was. Yeah, it's the 25.
Now, the real question is, though, Ross, are you ready for the return?
The return of the Mac?
Quinn Ewers.
The return of Quinn Ewers
back to Ohio State.
Oh, he's not coming back to Ohio State.
After they force him out.
He's going to Oregon. That offer now is up to $6 million from $5 million. So, yeah, he's going there. Do you think after a game like this, let's see, it was 23 of 39. He didn't look great in this one either, let's be honest.
I thought he played pretty well.
I think that's by far the best defense they've played all year.
It is, but when you get to the NFL, sorry, that's going to be the defense you face every week.
Oh, I thought you were just talking about college.
No, well, he's got one of two options.
Right.
He either declares now.
He's coming back.
Or he goes to Oregon.
He's got to come back.
But he's not coming back to Texas.
Yeah, I know.
No.
Texas is insane, and they're going to push out the guy who got him to the playoffs the last 2 years for the other guy who's got a last name. Now, maybe Arch Manning will be better, but I guess it just, it is what it is. And look, it's happened. Like, Georgia, by the way, did the opposite of this.
Oh, yeah.
Georgia let Justin Fields go because Stetson Bennett was working.
Yeah.
How'd that work out for Georgia?
They won 2.
Yeah.
They won 2.
So I don't know that Texas is making the right decision. Maybe they are. They're being aggressive, I guess, which is more than you can say on their fucking goal line possession where I don't even know what that was, but fuck. Just the incompetence of Steve Sarkisian. Like, that's so fucking bad. It's you shouldn't call plays anymore.
No.
And by the way, he's the play caller.
Yeah. Yep. He's the guy.
So the 14 points, that's all Sark. You can bitch at fucking Quinn Ewers all you want, but like hold more space for Steve Sarkisian.
I hold a lot of space for him in this game. For sure. Probably 95%. The other 5 is blitzing with 20 seconds left and allowing that screen pass to happen right before halftime. And with this, I have kind of a new appreciation for this 12-team playoff because as a fan, obviously, of my school, and I'm watching this bullshit, like, all I kept thinking was, because I was violently angry throughout most of this game. Like, throw the TV out the window. Right. Hey, the kids are upstairs. Like, I feel like breaking everything in the house. A friend of mine was over, and he said the same thing. He goes, man, I know you're fucking pissed off right now, but look at the last 3 weeks. You've had to play Tennessee, Oregon, Texas, and then there's still a national championship game, and fucking 8 days on top of it, 4 fucking games. The one thing that entered my mind, because I'm trying to work in going to the inauguration and this game at the same time. Delta, you better be on time for that 3:50 flight, motherfucker, out of DC. But anyways, I digress. Is how do you do this again? Will there ever be a repeat champion again in this era? I don't know how you keep winning 4 playoff games in a row year after year and have some type of Alabama run or something else. I mean, is it possible?
I don't think so. I think
it's just
obviously
too
with
hard.
The parity and injury and everything, it's not going to happen.
I actually think, but if it was pre-NIL, let's say the 12-team playoffs started 15 years ago. Basically, let's say it started when Nick Saban got the job, right? Alabama probably has more championships than they already do.
Why? Because they're able to pay players and shit? Or?
Yeah. They just had such a massive advantage in talent and stuff like that. And remember, the guy got left out a couple years, right? Like, they didn't get to the kick 6 kept him out.
So wait, Ross, are you ready to admit that Ohio State belonged in the playoff?
I'm not at all. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying,
well, they belonged in the 12-team playoff. That was never.
Yeah, the 12-team playoff, yes. But I still love the old school format. Me personally, the 4. And if this would have been the 4 anyways. These are both great games and matched and all that other shit, but
wouldn't have been Ohio State.
It would not have. And by the way, I didn't deserve it. And that's the other thing that I'm still trying to reconcile is like, dude, when I said this last week, when you're used to having to beat Michigan for 100 years, or you do not get in the playoffs at all, it is hard for fans to realize, oh, well, that game doesn't matter, and then let's celebrate a national championship. Now, obviously, I'm going to if I make it to the game and I win and I be there. Same with any other fan on the planet. But you've got to change your entire mindset now, and you've almost got to reprogram your season. And I'm going to use this to on the Notre Dame front right now because this last game and the last 2 games, they've had so many fucking injuries on this team. If they get beat by 48 in the national championship, I can tell you playing four games in the playoffs against some of the hardest team there is so brutal that I don't know how you let's say Notre Dame loses 50-0 in this goddamn game. I don't know how you blame them because you're taking 4 tough opponents that are going down to the wire, and it's just too difficult to keep people healthy and on the field and in their best condition. You're on an NFL schedule now.
Yeah, basically. Although, honestly...
Is it 4 wins in the NFL to get to the Super Bowl?
3 to 4, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
and that's what you're asking college kids to do now.
Right. I mean, to be fair, we ask every other level of college to do that.
No, college basketball, they play half the games.
No. I'm talking about that in football. Like Division II, Division III, they have playoffs.
Oh, yeah, they have playoffs. But those guys aren't going anywhere.
I know, but they still have to play.
You want to play if you're that age.
There's plenty of quarterbacks that played on that level that are in the NFL.
I'm just saying, though, all the other college levels of football do the playoff.
Yeah.
And so they're on roughly that schedule. Someone who watches it more than me can attest to it better because I don't. But, it is fucking brutal, though. Like, it is. And teams are going to have to just start paying dudes to ride the bench, basically.
Exactly.
For the depth.
And you're going to have to be really, really fucking deep because you're going to have a lot of injuries. Ohio State already went through it. No offensive line. Notre Dame is losing people left and right over the last 3 weeks. And I think it's going to it'll, in my opinion, end up costing them.
I think most of them are back. I was reading an article before. Knapp is out.
He's one of their best on defense.
Yeah, and that's huge. Oh, no. Knapp is a left tackle.
Yes, he's the left tackle. There's somebody out on defense for them.
I'm not seeing.
They've kind of been banged up all year, though.
Yeah. I'm seeing mostly offense from here. Yeah, it's all offensive dudes.
Like they have a true freshman playing corner, I believe, and he's been pretty good.
He's been good, but God, there was somebody who went down on defense who was really fucking good. I'm not in the chat. If you are, let me know who it is because I'm sure there's some Notre Dame fans in there. But it's just so impossible now to win a national championship.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to repeat.
Yes, and I think that's why, me personally, I'll savor this, having watched these last 3 weeks in a row. Texas, Tennessee, Oregon, Jesus Christ, and now a national championship on top of that. Like, never had to go through anything like that. Usually it's, all right, one team, and then boom, you play the next team. Yeah. Or you're just in the national championship, like Ohio State, Miami. When I was at that game in 2002, cool, man, you just got voted in. Those are the top two teams, and that was the only game.
The Big Ten didn't even play a
Big Ten championship.
Yeah.
Nope. So you had shorter games.
Yep.
And it was like, all right. So that's the toughest part in this. And I think if your team does make it, you got to go. You got to try to make the effort because it's going to be impossible if Ohio State or Notre Dame to repeat this next year.
Oh yeah, I think it's for any team that's not a blue blood. It's just impossible in general. Like me and Dan would joke all the time. It's like, man, Washington's never going to be back there.
No,
like they had one chance for glory,
one shot at it, and they'll never be back. I agree. They'll never be back at it again because you got to win 4 in a row.
Yeah,
4 in a row.
You had Jed Fish in Seattle.
They're never going to be back there. They were, and that roster was like generationally loaded too.
Yeah,
of college talent.
Yeah. That was their chance. That was their chance, man. And they were playing Michigan, who, let's face it, didn't have a great offense. They never have.
They could definitely get there, dude. There's 12 teams. Fucking Arizona State just made the playoff,
but they didn't even win the first game.
Yeah, they lost in their first round.
It's just too tough, man. And you've got to be so deep now. That's it. The depth of this, because even these practice guy players who are now the starters for Ohio State. Mm-hmm. Have to be deep. I remember seeing the promo at the beginning of the show for the college football playoffs for the Notre Dame game. And the stat up there was how many 5 stars, 4 stars, 3 stars each team had. Mm-hmm. And it went down to all 4 teams that were left. Ohio State had 0 3-star players. All of them were 4 and 5 stars.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's where the depth comes in. That's where that depth really comes in. But how do you tell a kid, hey, I know you're great enough to start anywhere else, but you're going to have to sit on the bench here and then hope for your shot to get in.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. It is, and that's going to, I guess, affect every team. But, yeah, it is tough to tell a 3-star kid, I guess, to be like, yeah, you can go start at Indiana or you can.
Because you're not playing there.
Sit on the bench here.
I mean, there's 0 on Ohio State's roster. They don't have 1 3-star. 0.
Yeah.
That was the stat on ESPN before the game started, and I was like, I didn't know that, and I'm a fan.
Yeah.
I was like, wait,
Ohio
what?
State's always a top 5 recruiting class every year.
But you've got to be deep, and especially on these lines, because that's where it matters the most. Now, I look at a Penn State. We got some breaking news here on them. So Allen is coming back, which we knew. That pushed that other kid out to Missouri, who I really like. Congratulations, because he's good, man.
I'm a privy boy now.
Yeah, and Singleton, the running back, he's great. He announced he's coming back. And then Dennis Sutton is also coming back as well for Penn State. I think Penn State will be back. I think they'll be great next year. Again, Aller's got to figure it out. And Allen also came back for these guys. Katron Allen's coming back. This is going to be a good team, man. But Aller's got to figure this out because he looked nervous.
Their schedule is also like dog shit next year, so they should be.
They'll be back.
He's awesome in games that aren't huge.
He is.
He's a good quarterback when the pressure's not on.
Right.
Like, he's very good at winning the games he's supposed to win. Just like James Franklin's a great fit for Penn State.
Is it? What do you do? What do you do with Franklin now at this point? I think he's a good coach.
He wins like double-digit games every year. He got you to the 12-team playoff in the first year of that. It's hard to get rid of a guy like that because it can get worse.
I think if Bill O'Brien would have stayed, I think they would have won a title by now.
Yeah, but Bill O'Brien,
I don't think so.
I do.
On to bigger and better.
Also, everybody was super impatient with Harbaugh, right? It took him forever to get to the playoff, and then he finally beat Ohio State. He got to the playoff and then lost to TCU the next year, won his natty.
Yep. And then that'll lead me to last night's decision because some people were asking me about this and Mike Vrabel. So Vrabel is back at the Patriots.
Mm-hmm. Great hire.
Great hire. It's the best hire you could possibly make in the NFL, in my opinion, besides Belichick somewhere.
Yeah.
And he might, Belichick's at UNC, but he could have gone to Dallas. But with that, I think he purposely waited for the outcome of that Ohio State game.
Yeah.
And there was, this is a guess. I've not talked to anybody today. Behind the scenes, this is what it feels like. Behind the scenes, I think there was a situation where it was like, all right, let's see how this fucking Texas game goes.
Yeah.
Doesn't go
out. You think Day would have got fired if they lost?
If we got blown out, potentially.
If we got blown out, but not.
If he got blown out.
Okay. But not lost.
Yeah.
Okay, if they had lost that, let's say Texas Sarkisian isn't fucking a moron and punches it in and, I don't know, Ohio State loses in overtime. Does Day keep his job?
Yes.
Okay.
If you lose by 3 scores, I think he's out, and I think that's why Vrabel was waiting because the timing on this was really curious. I mean, it was the next day. It was just like, all right, Ohio State game ended. They're in the title. Cool, Vrabel. What are you doing, man? Great. Let's go to my other home, the New England Patriots versus Ohio State, my home.
By the way, the 12-team playoff saved Ryan Day's job.
It did.
Because if it was a 4-team playoff this year, if the playoff had started 1 year later, and then Ryan Day loses and they miss the 4-team playoff to Michigan, he's gone, right?
Yeah, he's gone.
And now he's a game away from
being winning the national championship and being one of 3 coaches currently coaching in college football that has a national championship.
Yeah. It's fucking insane.
I can't see it.
I can.
I can't see it.
I can, and I'm going so hard on this. Let's get to the sponsors because where I'm doing it on mybookie.com, promo code Drinkin Bros doubles that first deposit all the way up to $1,000. I am so confident in this. I'm looking at alt lines right now, and that 20.5 is really sitting in my mind. I just don't know where the points come from Notre Dame. Same thing I said about Texas. And sure enough, it was right. They had 14. I don't know how a Notre Dame is going to be able to do that. Like, Ewers can at least throw the ball.
Yeah.
Riley Leonard chooses to run on his own or is forced to. I don't know the answer.
You don't think there's plenty of tape out now to stop the Ohio State offense?
No, because let's say you use the game plan from last week. Ohio State's going to know if you're going to triple cover Jeremiah Smith, they're going to make adjustments from that. They have not seen that all year. They've never seen double coverage and triple coverage on one person like that. That means someone else is open, and I think the game plan will be devised around that.
You still can't really run the ball.
Because there's no offensive line.
Yeah.
So the only way that they can run it is if they start passing on every single down and then mix in the run later. And I've said that since that Nebraska game. So I hope, we play like Tennessee and the other one, but the play calling wasn't there for that. And the Texas confusion was wild the second time I watched it. I thought that DC did a really great job other than that call at the end of the half. But let's look up at this because a lot of you guys took that alt line with me on Ohio State and Texas at minus 13.5. Let's see what it is on my bookie here. I was looking at it last night, but the odds have dropped a lot since then. So let's see if that improved those. And that's the beauty of my bookie. You can do these prop bets. I had a bunch of listeners hit me up of why can't we bet on players? You can't do that in college football. So there is no player props. There is only team props. So I just want to give everybody a heads up about that because a lot of people are trying to go for how many yards passing and all that other stuff.
Anytime TD.
I don't know why don't they let college kids do that.
I've seen it on there before on my bookie.
I haven't.
It might show up like day of.
Usually player props are not till day of.
I did it an hour before the game.
But sometimes they don't. Sometimes the games don't have them, and maybe they haven't done it. I don't know. I really don't know because I have definitely bet a player prop in college on my bookie before, but I have not done it this year.
Okay.
So I don't know.
So here's what I'm going to do because I have this bet right here already in place. I'm going to take that 8 all day with Ohio State all day long. And then I'm going to I think put $1,500 on the alt line of minus 20.5. It's at plus 265.
That is low.
It's very low because they know what's going to happen. I'm telling you, they fucking know what's going to happen, and all they're relying on is Notre Dame homers to drive this spread down. And I think Ohio State rolls in this game.
I mean, look, if Notre Dame can't keep Notre Dame doesn't even have to score a lot. They just have to have sustained drives. Right. They have to let they have to give the defense a breather.
Yes. Chew time off the clock.
Yes. If they can get their dream scenario is another being down 10-3 at half.
Yes. Yeah, 100%. That's a victory. That's a victory.
I would be terrified. I would not feel anywhere near comfortable if I was an Ohio State fan and the second half was, all right, we just got to keep winning this rock fight with Notre Dame. I would want a 2-score, even if it's 10 points, a 2-score lead going into the half.
Right. But I just don't see it, man. Ohio State has the number one defense in the entire nation. I was on display on Friday, and let's face it, in my opinion, the defense won that game for them.
Absolutely.
So,
completely.
That's it. That 4th and 1 bullshit's been going on all year. Happened twice at Oregon. They shut them down. Happened at Penn State. Two drives within the 5-yard line there. It's just because Ohio State has the best defense. And Notre Dame fans, I know they're going to fucking shit on me. There's a ton of them in our fucking group. I think if this game was played after that Nebraska game in the middle of the season, right where that Michigan game was, then I think Notre Dame has a chance to win this for sure. But now with this new system and everything else in place, and Ohio State now having game tape of double coverage, triple coverage, I think they exploit it and light it up. That means Egbuka is going to be open all game long, and Carnell Tate, and it's just like you can go to town. You can go to town on that.
If Notre Dame's not sustaining their drives, they're fucked.
And it's going to be early. And let's face it, a lot of these national championships in recent years have been blowouts. So
yeah. If there's like a Riley interception and then a 3-and-out, I mean, it's going to be tough.
Yeah. So that's where I'm going with this. You guys can do it as well. Tonight's game is a blast. We had a lot of success on mybookie.com as far as the NFL goes. We'll get to those scores and highlights in a minute. But right now, everybody's betting here. It's been great, and we've won a shit ton of money here. Once again, I will post all my bets in Drinkin Bros Sports. You guys already know what tonight's is because it's the last leg of that parlay for me. I've got Rams plus 2.5. But feel free to bet with us or against us over there. Next up, drinkinbrostickets.com. If you want tickets to any of these events, head on over to drinkinbrostickets.com. A lot of people going to the games. This Notre Dame Ohio State game, though, is forget it. I'm telling you, man, this is a Super Bowl matchup. These are Super Bowl prices right now. It is outrageous. It is ridiculous. I'm not happy about it, obviously, because I'm going to go. But, I can't just pull free tickets for myself. I still have to pay something, but any other game besides Ohio State Notre Dame is pretty reasonably priced. They're about $10 cheaper than StubHub over there, but don't hit me up about Notre Dame Ohio State tickets because those are going to be Super Bowl prices, and they already are. Yeah. I mean, they already are. The last row in there, is $1,600.
I also think Notre Dame fans are feeling something that they didn't necessarily think they had the last time they made the playoff or when they made the BCS championship against Bama in 12.
Okay.
I think they feel better about this game than either of those past two games. Because no one going into that Bama game was like, oh, I don't know, maybe Notre Dame has a shot. Like, we just found out Manti Te'o had a fake girlfriend, and it was peak, run offense, like Saban, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That might have been the Derrick Henry team, actually.
Which one?
Beat Notre Dame.
Oh, that was the Manti Te'o one.
I know. Well, yeah, Te'o was on Notre Dame, but I'm saying Derrick Henry might have been on that Bama team. I can't remember, but either way, it's. It
was one of the most embarrassing games in history. Was it 55-0?
Yeah. Oh, it was right before Henry. Yeah, they fucking murdered Notre Dame.
What was the final score of that game? I remember turning it off in the third. I was just like, Jesus Christ, man.
Was 42-14.
Oh God,
Alabama.
Okay. Well, I know Alabama pulled all their. Saban doesn't do that bullshit.
Yeah.
So he'll pull them. And by the way, out of respect for Marcus Freeman playing at Ohio State and being the team captain and all that shit, I don't think Day will do that to Marcus Freeman either. But I got it as a 3-score game right now. I had Texas at 2 scores.
That was Eddie Lacy.
And that came to prediction. Oh, Eddie Lacy was great.
Mari Cooper.
And then he started eating in the NFL. Who was their quarterback? Was it McElroy?
AJ McCarron.
Okay.
Oh, shit. He was good, man.
Yeah, he was great.
He got hurt in the NFL and never really got to do anything, but also married really hot, too. Remember his wife?
Oh, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Webb?
Yeah, she was
Catherine
great.
Webb? Yeah.
She was great, dude.
I don't know if they had a lot of faith, though, in Golson. I think Notre Dame hasn't felt this good since Brady Quinn.
Probably.
Yeah, probably.
Sponsor-wise, next up is bioproteintech.com. Guys, if you're over 30, you're going to want to hear this. Here's why your hormones suck. Every year after puberty, your human growth hormone goes down. Not great. Not great at all. You probably feel like shit. You got some brain fog. I had it. Yes, testosterone is part of it, but it's not all of it. You got to repair those human growth hormones as well. That's where bioproteintech.com comes in. BioPro Plus gives you 30 vials every single month, shipped to your house. Pop one underneath your tongue, either in the morning, like it says on the box. I take it right before night. For whatever reason, man, I have a great night's sleep on it. You can pop up feeling great the next day. And over time, the results have been felt in months instead of years over there. And it just kicks right in. I've been on it for like a year now. And I feel great so far. Skin looks nice and all that other stuff. So if you want to fix the way you perform, look, and feel, also perform that performance in the bedroom. You want to get better at that, baby? Head on over to bioproteintech.com. Promo code Drinkin Bros will get you $30 off your first order over there. And we'll put the link in the description on the audio show and video show as well. And then if you're going to any of these games, go to hardafseltzer.com. Go to the store locator, enter your city or zip, find a location nearest you, grab a 12-pack, and take some pics. Tag us and all that other fun stuff. If you like the taste of them, if you love the taste of a liquid Jolly Rancher with no carbs, no sugars, and no gluten, be a part of the company and invest in it. We're leaving 30% of the company open to you at wefunder.com/hardaf seltzer. That way you can actually own it. So that way you're drinking at the games, taking pictures, handing out to friends and family. You own the company, and thank you for real. All right, NFL. Let's move on to the college game or the NFL games over the weekend here. Man, start with the first one. This was the only big shock to me. This was Texans Chargers. At the end of the first quarter, it was 6-0. Mm-hmm. CJ Stroud was trending number 1 on Twitter. And it was Texas fans and all the NFL saying, what happened to CJ Stroud this year? He's a pile of garbage. He sucks.
Sophomore slump, it's fine.
Sure. And then he comes back and absolutely fucking kicks their asses here.
Yep.
32-12. Now, I picked the Chargers in this game, so this was a loss to me. And it was 2.5. I had this in a 13-point teaser too.
Yeah, nothing covered.
Still lost.
Yeah.
Still lost in this game. Baffled by this, man. It's time to start talking about Herbert's performance in this because he lost that game from 4 picks in an NFL playoff game. Sorry, that can't happen.
I didn't see all of the picks, but one of them was absolutely not his fault.
One was.
I don't know what happened with the other 3, but the one I saw, because I was watching most of the game live, but I think I had to put my kids to bed and shit. Or I forget what I was doing. But either way, oh my God, it was off his tight end's hands.
Yeah.
And just bounced into a Texans defender. Like the other ones, I don't know. I feel like maybe one of the other ones was fluky too, but either way, bad game. Horrific game from Herbert.
Horrific game from Herbert. I am totally stunned by this one. Chargers have had a really good top 5 defense all year. Texans haven't. So hold the Chargers to 12 points and Herbert to 4 picks. J.K. Dobbins only had 26 yards. Gus Edwards only had 22 yards. They had 50 yards rushing, and they are a rushing team. And, they just got shut down in all phases of defense here. And this was embarrassing, man.
Yeah, not
this was
great.
A bad loss.
Lad McConkey had the game of his life. I guess,
and I'm glad you brought that up because I want to apologize to Lad McConkey. I've made fun of him all year. And it's a white guy at wide receiver who's balding and looks like he should not be playing wide receiver.
There's no one you should fear more, unless it's like a Randy Moss, Calvin Johnson type body. No one you should fear more than the tiny, scrappy white guy slot possession.
The
receiver.
Hunter Renfrows.
Yeah, but he's their number
Kupp.
1 receiver on this team.
Yeah,
which is wild to me.
Cooper Kupp's the best receiver on the Rams.
I know.
Who is that guy physically doing anything to?
No one.
It's all crisp routes and good hands.
It is.
Like it's all.
It is. So I want to apologize to Lad McConkey here. And actually, Lad, I'm going to read off your stats. 82 receptions this year, 1,149 yards, and 7 touchdowns. This was pre-playoffs.
Yeah.
Playoff game, 9 receptions, 197 yards and a touch. I mean, that is...
The guy's a killer. And look, I mean, dude, this is year 1 for Harbaugh and the Chargers.
Yep.
Like, they won 11 games. They're coming.
They are. And they overachieved this year. Shocked at this outcome. However, the Chargers way overachieved this year, and they're going to be good for years to come over there.
Yeah.
And
brutal division, too.
Yeah. And I think this is a one-off for Herbert having this bad of a game, but he lost this for him. I mean, you just can't have 4 turnovers. I'm sorry. On your own. On your own here. Next up was Steelers at the Ravens. Now, this one went exactly as I thought here. Were you shocked by this?
No. I was watching this game. I was like, it was the night game, and I was like, oh, I'm going to sit down and watch some NFL football, watch softcore history, or write softcore history, and for the Sunday show, and like literally about halfway through the first half, I was like, this game sucks ass.
It was 21-0 at halftime.
Fucking terrible.
Yeah.
And instead, I watched some great, and by the way, show will start this week, watch some great regular season SEC basketball.
Okay.
You had fucking Kentucky winning a game on the road at Mississippi State, and then Bama winning a game on the road at A&M. 2 just top 15 matchups, incredible. This game sucked balls.
Yeah, I turned this off at halftime, and I went to bed.
Fucking terrible.
Yeah,
it's
I went
not
to bed.
Nearly as close as the score indicates.
No. I mean, they were up by so much, and I know what you're saying. Hey, the Steelers came back and scored 14 in the thing. But yeah, Ravens picked up another TD, and it was just like, dude, I went to bed at the right time. Nobody scored in the fourth quarter. Derrick Henry, just absolutely fucking annihilated this team. 186, 2 touchdowns. Ridiculous.
I think one thing that's going to prove true going forward, and I guess immediately, because the next round matchup is fucking awesome with the Bills, you have to score first against the Ravens.
Yes.
Because if they get to play from ahead and just let fucking Derrick Henry run, like you're never getting the ball back.
Nope.
You're absolutely fucked. Like it's you need to be leading early against the Ravens.
Yes. And this is going to be a difficult team, but the whole AFC there is loaded because that'll lead us into the next game. The Bills rolled the Broncos. Obviously, no shock out of anybody here.
Finally, the Broncos lose.
Jesus Christ. And they end with 10 wins exactly on the season, including the playoffs. Fuck you guys, dude. And that tattoo's on my ass forever. Wife's not happy about it. Bills absolutely dismantled this team. And look, I'm going to say the same thing I'm going to say about the Chargers. This Broncos team, I think Bonix, even trying to the very end, running the ball on his own and all that other shit. Like,
he's legit.
He is. And I think this is going to be a good team in the future. Sean Payton's one of the best coaches there is. I think the Broncos have a bright future as well. They were lucky to get here. The over-under in Vegas was 5.5 on wins for the season. 10 wins in the playoffs, and then losing to the Bills, one of the best team in the AFC. Isn't that bad of a loss?
Yeah, no, not at all. And by the way, the AFC West now, that's the best coach division maybe in the history of the NFL.
Who is it?
Andy Reid,
yep.
Sean Payton,
yep.
Jim Harbaugh.
Oh, God. That's a murderous row
that's
right there.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Coach to be named later.
Yeah. The Raiders don't even fucking matter.
They fired Antonio Pierce.
They could rip Bill Belichick away from UNC tomorrow, or get the Lions offensive coordinator. I think is a big candidate for the job, or Joe Brady maybe from the. I don't think Brady wants to head coach though, but Joe Brady, the Bills OC, who was the OC of the Joe Burrow LSU Tigers.
Yeah.
Not that was a hard job.
Well, I don't know if Ben Johnson from the Lions wants to fucking jump for the Raiders.
I wouldn't
either.
Ever.
Unless
fuck that.
Brady's going to get involved in a major way and try to really reorganize this organization.
Yeah. I feel like Brady's more of a Derek Jeter owning the Marlins type of situation.
Well, now that I have insight on, since we're not with the Marlins, I can tell you what it is. So I can personally now tell you, because AF Seltzer sponsored the Marlins. Jeter went in there and fucking trashed the entire office, and just said, "Hey," he called a meeting. First of all, with the owners and everybody else, and he goes, "All right, we're not winning because we're not spending money. We're not doing X. We're not doing this and this and this and this. And this is what it takes to build a championship roster." They are so fucking lazy and laissez-faire over there, and they didn't want to spend the money. They got the stadium,
right,
but they didn't get the players.
Right.
He had bitched to the players. Then, this is a true story. He went down to concessions even the concession guys and the guys who are working up and down the aisles and everything else. And he goes, look, if we're going to be a championship team upstairs, we need it downstairs too. I want you to take care of people. I want you to do this. I want you to do this. Try to rally the fucking troops for years.
Yeah.
Till he was blue in the face and eventually lost his shit. And he goes, you guys are all a bunch of fucking losers, and I am out of here because I'm a winner, and I'm fucking out of here.
Yeah.
That is the true story with Derek Jeter. So he tried.
Sounds like he lost.
But you can't do anything if ownership is unwilling to do anything. And to Bob's point, I don't know if that dickhead with the bowl cut,
Mark Davis,
is going to let him do anything.
That's what I'm saying. It sounds like Jeter at the Marlins, right? It's like, oh, he's a winner. He's the captain. And he goes to one of the most sad sack fucking franchises in American sports. And no one can turn it around.
Oh, but they have the best stadium. The fan base is still there. At all the tourists coming in, it is a layup for you to sell out every single game for the end of time.
Yeah.
Just put a fucking product on the field and let somebody else do it.
No income tax state.
Nothing.
And
it's great. I love going to Vegas
and
still.
It's Miami.
Yes. I love it. Miami's a different situation. So here's why they have a very hard time with the Dolphins and the Marlins going to the games is most of the people are transplants or from somebody else or just not even from this country.
Yeah.
They don't want to do it. The reason why they built the Marlins Stadium in the middle of that Cuban...
They built it in Little Havana.
Sure did.
Well, it's North Havana.
Yes, and they tried to get them in there. You can't do it with a shitty team.
Are
and by the way,
we over in Miami, though, as a city for sports and athletes? Because Jimmy Butler wants out.
Yep.
Tyreek Hill wants out. Maybe it's not all what it's cracked up to be.
No sympathy for Tyreek Hill.
Me neither.
He knew exactly what he was fucking getting into.
I agree. He knew exactly what it was. And for him to go out there and say on that press conference afterwards, after the game was over, I'm gone. Nah, brah. I got to do what's best for me and my family. You did what's best for your family. You took the highest contract in wide receiver history, and you said, you know what? I'm going to leave the best quarterback and coach of all time. And you could have won 8 Super Bowls, you dumb fuck.
Yeah.
So that is all on you, you selfish piece of shit. So fuck off with that bullshit. Now, Jeter tried. So, and I'm not a big Derek Jeter fan, obviously.
Me either.
He beat our asses with the Braves. I hate the guy.
Yeah.
I don't know him.
As a player, I hate Derek Jeter.
Yes, so do I. And I've got one personal interaction with him, but
he's just another guy if he's a Royal.
Well, who said that? Somebody said that, right? Somebody famous?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I can give you a perfect comp with Derek Jeter. It's who gives a shit about George Brett?
I know.
George Brett's one of the greatest hitters in baseball history.
I know George Brett. I like George Brett.
I do too, but
he's a footnote.
Yeah, he is. As much as I hate to say it, he is.
I don't like that. Yeah, I'm not happy about it.
I know.
The fucking footnote.
By the way, the last Kansas City team to win, the Royals.
Yeah.
Just a few years ago. I don't know if I can name one person right now off the top of my head on that team.
I can name a lot because I watch that team closely.
Okay.
But one still plays for the
tell me who the superstar is. Who's their biggest guy?
So probably, I forget who the MVP was, but probably Salvi Perez, their catcher. But
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, Alex Gordon was a great player. He was their left fielder. He was kind of their blue chip prospect. Eric Hosmer, first base. Mike Moustakas was third base.
None of these people register. George Brett, though, still registers.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the difference.
Yeah, but they got a superstar now. They got Bobby Witt.
Bobby Witt Jr.
So at the home run derby, yes, everybody in the crowd was amped for Bobby Witt Jr. and I was kind of getting with him, but you got to make a deeper run and just market him better. But that's kind of what they're faced with there. So if he turns over the franchise, fine. Next up was Packers versus Eagles. Got this one. I told you guys in the chats on Drinkin Bros Sports on Facebook. If you're not a member, subscribe. It's private. All the bets go in there. And you can see them before the game. I bet the house on this.
Good.
500 on the Eagles, 5.5. It was easy.
Packers, always a paper tiger. Jordan Love, ass.
Yeah. Look, he hasn't been in the playoffs a lot yet. I'll wait until next year before overreacting about him. But he had a shitty game in this one. 3 interceptions. I know Christian Watson was out for the year, so he didn't have his number one guy and all that other stuff. But get this kid some help and see what he can do with some receivers. It just seems like the Packers never do this, though, for any of their quarterbacks. So I don't know if that will ever change.
I think
this was the easiest game to call. And then Saquon Barkley, God love him for taking a knee, but this could have been a worse blowout than it was. This should have been 30-10.
Man, I didn't like the way the Eagles looked. Didn't
Really?
like the cut of their jib.
Why?
It's 10-0 in the first quarter.
Are you going to be anti-Jalen too? He's coming back from a concussion. Yes, he didn't hit a whole lot of receivers. Whatever. We don't need to. We just hand the ball to Saquon.
No.
Yeah, you don't need to do a lot against the Packers. I'm just saying.
I think
whoever wins tonight's taking down the Eagles in the next round.
Ooh.
In no world are we losing to either the Vikings or the fucking Rams.
The Vikings are going to dick you down.
I don't think the Vikings.
They're really not. I don't think you really put enough respect on how good the Eagles defense is.
The Eagles
right
defense
now.
is great, but I would not want to play the Rams with those two receivers.
Dude, bring it on.
Stafford's
I don't
already won a
fucking
Super
care.
Bowl.
The Vikings, though, we're going to have Darnold in a pretzel.
I know. Look, if it's Durr, yeah, I will bet my fucking house on the Eagles, but I don't even think he's getting out of tonight. But I agree with Bob. I think the Jalen Hurts problem still exists.
Well, I didn't think there used to be a problem, but I think he's kind of just, I don't know if he's been regressed or been figured out a little bit, but it's just he's not as effective as he used to be.
He is concussed.
Well, is he still going to be concussed next week?
No.
Yeah. Okay.
It'll be fine. It'll be another
right.
week better.
One of these teams is going to catch him, but because in theory, before this playoff started, I had Chiefs-Eagles Super Bowl again.
Yeah.
And only because of the injuries to the Lions. I think the Lions have this weird fucking grit.
There is no world where the Eagles go into Detroit and beat the fucking Lions in the NFC Championship game.
You live in it, buddy.
That is just not fucking happening.
By the way, I want that game so bad just because it's a great game. And I would love to see Detroit or Buffalo win the Super Bowl. Just because of their fan bases and all that stuff, and it'd be fun. But, man, that Eagles-Detroit game is going to be a blast. Next up, got the Redskins versus the Buccaneers.
Oh, poor Baker.
I called this one, too. I
Baker.
won all the things. The only thing I lost the entire weekend was the fucking Texans game.
First off, Dan Quinn, I know they won this game, but Dan Quinn, the head coach for 28-3, man, there's just coaches that take being aggressive too far. Like we talked about Franklin, should he have gone for it? Yes, play for the win.
Yeah.
Whatever. You don't expect your quarterback to make the worst possible decision at the worst possible time.
Yeah.
You can't play like that. But holy fuck, dude. Take points. They got stopped on 4th and goal in the third quarter, I think, or at the beginning of the fourth quarter.
Yep.
I think it was late third quarter. They were down 4. You're obviously going to get the ball back. Tampa Bay's offense hasn't been that great. They got bailed out by Baker, fucking up a handoff, essentially. Got just completely lucky. You have to take points there. That drove me nuts.
And I'm glad you brought that up because I'm seeing this a lot in college and the NFL now, where this algorithm stat, they're now putting it up on the screen for fourth downs.
Yeah.
I watched it during the college football game. Should you go for this? Algorithm says yes.
Yeah.
And it's just like
Grok says go.
Right. And I'm like, no, let's take the fucking points. But just take the fucking points.
Yeah.
It's a long game. Take the fucking points.
It's just a very odd calculus that people have where it's, think about how you feel if you randomly miss an extra point early in a game. You're almost certain you're that's going to come back to fuck us in the ass.
Yeah.
100%. But then you sit there and you won't take 3 in the second or third quarter.
It's so bizarre to me. I don't understand.
Yeah.
I don't understand. And Sirianni does this bullshit all the time. I just take the fucking points, man. In a 3-point game, too.
Yeah.
That extra field goal or extra point, whatever it is, helps, dude, in these games. And you're in the playoffs.
It all worked out through nothing they did. It wasn't like the defense forced a fumble. Fuck yeah. Baker Mayfield just tripped over his own dick and dropped the ball, basically. It's crazy. And then he fucked up again. I forget what he did. I was a little buzzed from recording softcore last night. But he fucked up again a second time. Baker unfortunately lost them the game. And
he did.
I forget what he did this. It might have just been a pick. I can't
no,
remember.
it was that fumble. I remember that. It was that handoff fumble.
The handoff fumble, but there was something else too that he fucked up later. The Commanders basically just got bailed the fuck out.
Yes, they did. And Delco, since we're on tonight's game here, this one I actually will ask your advice on because I never hedge. So I'm going to text you one more bet here. That's for tonight. If you can post this on the screen. And this is more or less to teach the listeners what to do too, because I bet for fun. None of this is life-changing for me, and I'm fortunate to do so. But a lot of people are trying to, buy formula or get extra stuff for whatever it is. So I don't want to not do the right thing here. If you can pop that up on screen, this is real. So how would I hedge tonight's then? So this was posted Saturday in Drinkin Bros Sports on Facebook. I took Eagles minus 5.5, Washington plus 3.5, and then I have the Rams tonight. $365 pays out at $2,006.44. What's the move then to put $1,000 on the Vikings? Is that what it is?
Well, the Vikings right now are the favorite at minus 2.5. So, I mean, you can't really hedge that other than.
Because if they don't win by 3?
See, what I mean, you could. Because you're going to have to take the Vikings
money line. Okay.
And you could win both bets, technically. So, I mean, if this was your teaser, it would be a lot easier because then you could just take.
It's not a teaser; it's just a parlay.
A straight parlay.
Yeah.
What's the Vikings money line tonight? They're only minus 140. So yeah, you would just. I mean, if you on this, I wouldn't try to hedge and make money either way. I would just personally hedge.
Or what you could do is a live bet. If the Rams get up, take Vikings plus money.
That's a tough one, isn't it?
I just put $1,000 on the Vikings.
Or money line, yeah, and then win some money, I guess. But
or again, if you just want to not lose money, you could put $365 or whatever.
I'm betting to win money though. That's the thing.
I know, but you're not. Yeah,
the 365. I got you. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
I understand.
So that you don't.
Okay.
So that it wipes out your potential loss.
Yeah. And then the other thing,
you would bet. I guess you would bet about $420 on the Vikings money line.
Okay, so. The other reason I'm posting this too is I got some questions over the weekend of like, why did you bet such a weird number of $365? There's a running calculator in my bookie, so when you type in the numbers, it'll spit out what it is. Mm-hmm. On this parlay, I wanted to win $2,000. This was the closest way to do that, so that's why I put this on there. And I typically don't bet like a shit ton of money on games like this, like our parlays or whatever. So that was it. It was just to get to $2,000, but.
Rob,
either way,
it would be closer to like $500.
$500? Okay. Either way.
$511.
So you either don't lose your money or you win $1,500.
Okay. All right. So maybe I'll do that tonight, and I'll hedge with this one. I mean, you guys know me, dude. Putting this on dirt.
I think this is especially for you, not a big parlay. Just let it ride.
Okay. All right, let's do it. Let's let it ride tonight. It's for the city of Los Angeles. The city's burning down. Sorry, it's over. All right. As far as coaching carousel goes, McCarthy is out at the Cowboys.
Yeah, thank God.
Happy or sad about that? So here's the weird thing. It did not come down to, hey, you're fired. It was a different contract. And apparently he said no because other teams are already calling him.
Yeah, I guess, dude.
No, they are.
I know.
They
that's
asked
what I'm
for
saying.
permission to talk to him.
The Bears wanted to talk to him, and they said no. Now I guess he can. I think the Jets or something wanted to talk to him.
Yeah.
Whatever.
There's no openings in the NFC East, so it's not good for us.
Pierce is out after 1 year at the Raiders. GM is out there. I'm sure we'll see more openings here. Man, what makes this McCarthy thing odd to me is why not try to go after a Belichick before the UNC deal, I guess. If you knew.
Yeah.
If you knew already, I mean, you could have lined that up better.
Yeah, I'm not really big on the Belichick third act.
I am.
I would do it. I wouldn't have done it with the Falcons because they're still too far away. But, like, the Cowboys are kind of, like, at the end. Like, they're like a plug and play almost, I feel like.
Yeah, they're close. I don't know. I don't know mentally.
Yeah.
Dak is close, but on paper, they are the closest team to winning a Super Bowl on paper.
Yeah.
It's just the mental aspect there. Who else? Mike Vrabel is now the coach of the Patriots.
Awesome hire.
Best. That's the best home run hire you could possibly ever have.
The things he did with such a fucking mediocre-ass franchise, and I know he had Derrick Henry, but, like,
he's going to have a but by the way, he's going to have a mediocre franchise in Patriots because Kraft doesn't spend any money.
Yeah.
But it's the perfect coach for it.
Yeah.
You're going to have an awesome defense.
Yeah.
I like Drake May. Drake May looks great. Yeah. So you've got a decent quarterback for the
Ryan
future.
Tannehill.
He was statistically.
Yeah.
So like, all right, cool, man. Absolutely knocked it out of the park with that one. So you got a good one there. Amped about that.
Oh, I know who's going to get a job.
Who's that? Who do you got?
Someone's going to make the mistake.
Rex Ryan?
No.
Who?
Cliff Kingsbury's getting a job.
They're already talking to him. People are talking to him right now.
He's a great coordinator. You don't want him running your team.
Was he the coordinator at USC?
I don't even think he actually coached for them, right?
Wasn't he?
He got hired.
That's right. He got hired and then
never
jumped for the NFL.
Yeah.
Maybe? Hold on, let me double check that. Either way,
he was the coach of the Cardinals.
There is a Caleb Williams connection. Yes, he was an offensive analyst at USC in 2003. So he was on staff at USC for a year.
Okay.
When Caleb Williams.
That was when they had that great run with Bush and Leinart and all those guys.
No,
2023.
Oh, 2023.
Yeah.
That's right, because he didn't have a job and he was going on that spiritual journey, remember? And he showed up halfway through the year.
Yeah, he went to Thailand to do stuff. Not going to speculate as to what.
Ladyboys.
Or whom.
Now, the last part of this bombshell I want to drop on you is exactly. Who fucking knows? But last part of this, I want to drop this on you is ESPN all morning long was saying there's only one guy that can replace McCarthy in Dallas. It's Deion Sanders.
Oh, boy.
Does he make that mistake? And then Deion said he wouldn't go without his kids. So, do you end up drafting his kids? You get rid of Dak Prescott?
How do you even do that? You trade Dak Prescott to... Is there a team drafting in the top 5 that wants to draft a quarterback but would take Dak over
Sanders? Yes.
Shadur?
Yes, I believe so.
What's the NFL draft order? Let's see. Tennessee's number 1. They need a quarterback, right?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. They've got Will Levis, unless you believe in Will Levis.
Nah, I would think they'd probably take a quarterback. Cleveland's number 2. They don't have a quarterback.
No, because over the weekend, Deshaun Watson ruptured his Achilles again. So he is, by the way, he is out for the entire 2025 season. So he is gone.
Although I will say this, Cleveland's roster is good enough.
But Myles Garrett wants out.
Yeah, but maybe if you bring in Dak, I don't know. Cleveland's roster is good enough that...
Could you imagine getting Deshaun Watson and then getting Dak Prescott on top of it? Oh, my God, dude.
Yeah, it's really fucking bad.
Wow.
The Giants are 3rd. They need a quarterback. And Jacksonville's 5th. They need a quarterback. Vegas is 6th. They need a quarterback. Most of the top 10 needs a quarterback.
This would be a Vegas move for sure.
What?
Getting Dak Prescott?
Yeah, they would do that. That sounds accurate.
I know who the Cowboys are going to hire.
Who?
They're going to bring back Kellen Moore.
Maybe.
I can see it.
Maybe. I could see it. I don't know if it's a sexy enough pick because he's, Jerry wants, the Super Bowl guys or national championship guys or somebody like that.
He was part of the organization for a while.
He was.
Yeah. Now he's Eagles offense coordinator.
Yeah.
I mean, the Super Bowl with the Eagles, he'll probably go to the Cowboys.
Yeah, he's certainly worthy of a shot to head coach somewhere.
I think, and also fuck sexy picks. Andy Reid wasn't a sexy pick when the Chiefs hired him.
I agree, but this is Jerry Jones.
Yeah,
it's a different animal.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Bill Belichick was absolutely not a sexy pick when the Patriots hired him. Let me see. I mean, I doubt many Washington fans were actually that hyped about Dan Quinn when they hired him.
No, and they should have been. He's the only person to get the Falcons to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Well, Shanahan did in the 90s, but.
And then the other ones, I mean, Tomlin's been there forever. Harbaugh was a sexy hire, I guess you could say. McVay is literally a sexy hire.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Just because it gives me...
I could see the Cowboys going after Cliff Kingsbury.
Not a bad move.
Yeah.
See what happens. I mean, Arizona's a fucking... I mean, I guess the Cowboys are a mess, too, but Arizona's a mess.
Does anyone give Brian Flores another chance?
No, I would not in a million years. I'd be so angry about that.
I think Vikings defense is really good.
I know. But I think he's a defensive coordinator. Same with Cliff Kingsbury. I don't think he'll be a good NFL head coach, but he's a great OC. And you look at what he's done with Jaden Daniels this year. Just know your role, dude. I literally had this conversation today about Hard AF, and somebody was asking me about being CEO and all this other stuff, and I was like, eventually I want to hire a massive CEO because I know my role is being here on the shows and helping out and shit. And it's I think at a certain point in your life, you've got to figure out what your role is and just stay in your lane, for real.
Got to understand your Peter principle.
Yes. And I don't think Cliff Kingsbury understands that, and I think he'll take another head coaching job. I really do.
It pays well. So
it pays well, but he's already rich.
Right.
I mean, his other contracts were so much money, and he got fired. So it was all right, cool. And then breaking news right before we get off the show here. I'm watching the press conference with Vrabel. He said his biggest draw to New England, other than obviously ownership, was Drake May. Said, I think he's a young, talented, willing to learn. I think it's a toughness to him. There's an amazing skill set in which to mold and have him lead our football team and lead our offense. There's arm talent, athleticism. Certainly, we have to be great around him, Robert Kraft. And we're going to continue to push him as much as he lets us. So, yeah, it seems like Drake May was the deciding factor in the games that we watched that he actually started in. I thought he was very good.
Yeah.
And he could absolutely be the future there. So
here's the real question I have for Mike Vrabel is, will you still cut your penis off if you win a Super Bowl?
I think it's the only question that should be answered at the rest of this press conference today.
Any reporter, any journalist not asking that question isn't doing their job.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right, and then college basketball will be back, you said, this week?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about it because Auburn just took over the number one spot in the
bad
AP
news
men's
for
poll.
Auburn, though.
Why?
Their best player, maybe player of the year, Naismith winner or whatever, Johnny Broome, significant ankle sprain in their last game, and he might be out for a long time. And Broome is a fucking nightmare
For the year, though?
It could be. I don't know. The ankle sprain is kind of a bitch, I guess.
It is if it's broken, though.
If
it's broken, he'll be out for March Madness.
Yeah, it's just said they haven't. Bruce Pearl hasn't given an update yet, but that's a huge loss.
Sprain might be worse than a break.
I've sprained my ankle before, and my doctor was like, "You would have been better breaking it."
I played as a kid with I had sprained ankles all the time, and I did wear those fucking braces and all that other bullshit. It's a bitch, dude. I agree.
It fucking sucks. That's the most painful injury of my life.
Yeah.
But yeah, Auburn is, at least when everyone's healthy, they're a fucking animal.
15-1 this year. Yeah, man. They're looking good. If you wonder, last question here before we get off the air. If you wonder why we're not, a lot of people are like, hey, you're not covering the NBA. I'm not interested, really. I mean, we will during the playoffs.
Yeah.
And when it gets closer to the playoffs. But right now, man, they're struggling with ratings. Watching these games has been fucking brutal.
It doesn't even feel like the players care.
No.
It doesn't feel like they care.
I mean, you're looking at what's going on down in Miami. He hasn't played until he's traded, and I guess you can just do that now.
Right.
Which is fucked. Anthony Edwards just got fines, a shit ton of money for obscene gestures and everything else. I mean, they are doing their absolute best to just tank this league, and it's weird to see, man.
Well, even when the league was like, everyone was obsessed with it and whatever, like call it 10, 15, 20 years ago, like, the day-to-day regular season games were still just as meaningless.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything. And the one thing, and people can say that about baseball too, but the one advantage baseball has is that the games are different every day in that you have a different pitcher going for your team and you play in these 3-game series, and it's important to win the series because you just want to kind of collect series. That's the best way to have a good record, right, is just win this series. So there's sort of like mini extra significance to every game. Right, because you want to win a series. You win 2 out of 3 every series. You're a 120-win team, basically. So there's like magnified significance, even though you're not fucked if you lose 3 games in a row or whatever in baseball, or 5 games in a row. But the NBA doesn't have that, and it's just like all of these games just sort of blur together into meaninglessness, and it's always the same people playing. And now they don't give a shit on top of that.
Yeah,
it sucks. It sucks.
College basketball is more exciting to me, and I always get into college right after football is over. So I'll be back. I'm all in after the national championship is over. But we just don't really cover it until the playoffs because it's not that great of a product right now, and they got a big problem on their hands, in my opinion. We appreciate you tuning in. Go to iTunes, rate the show a 5-star, and leave a quick review. Also, head on over to Spotify. It's just a 5-star, and you can walk away. For Hot Bob, Delco Dan, I'm Ross Patterson. This is the Monday Morning Recap.